just look at Manchin right now, what he's doing. The infrastructure bill, by the way, I've had some experiences so far with West Virginia's roads. Not so great. The infrastructure bill originally was supposed to be 2.2 trillion. Climate experts say that's pennies for what we need. And essentially, yeah, to be bipartisan with Republicans, but really Manchin is one of the driving forces behind shrinking it down to essentially $500 billion in new money and stripping it of any climate proposals, which goes to get a lot of money from coal, gets a lot of money from chemical companies, gets a lot of money from financial lawyers, from banks. All of these are invested in fossil fuel, particularly the banks. So it seems to me all this, waxing poetic about saving democracy, he keeps saying, saving democracy, doesn't really seem it's democracy that's the concern here. It seems to be the donors that are the concern. I wanted to ask you met with him in February. What did you meet with him about? What were you pushing him for, and what was the response?
That's when the minimum wage was put into the bill, in the CARES Act bill, before the 49 and 8 took it out. And so we were there pushing for the $15 minimum wage.
And it's about, in West Virginia, it's about $8.50?
Yep, something like that, yep. Yeah. Okay, and but he had just took over, so I wanted to mention to him, because I have paid attention my whole life to politics and policies. I started paying attention when Bill Clinton signed the NAFTA bill. And I heard my mom say, there goes our jobs.
Wow.
And I have seen over the years that is what has happened. And, I'm about bread and butter issues. I'm about table issues, because I'm poor. I'm a low-wage worker. I've been my whole life. So I know the struggles firsthand. I've had to use emergency rooms for my doctor. I held my breath just now at the Supreme Court decision. But my officials I have met with and I've talked with, it's like it goes in one ear and out the other. They'll sit there and listen, but then just as soon as I walk out the door, they do the very opposite of what I was explaining, what we were talking about, like with the minimum wage. You could solve so many of America's problems if you would give us a living wage. We wouldn't have to live on programs. We could, we could afford to put our kids, in school. We could fix our homes. Look in West Virginia. Houses are falling down. People don't have money to fix their houses up on minimum wage. They raise every bit of our we are so rural, you have to have a vehicle to work in West Virginia. They raised every bit of our taxes, our license fees, everything in this last trying to get the jobs in West Virginia.
And now they want to, cut the state income tax, but create all these other taxes off your back.
Exactly. They are shifting from the rich to the poor is pretty much what this big deal is.
They're shifting from the poor to the rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the tax burdens, all the burdens will be on us, because they're wanting to put a food tax on, raise what sales tax we've already got, put taxes on all of our what manufacturing has tried to come in here, like the brewing companies and stuff. It's going to put such burdens on them. But it's like they don't hear the minimum wage raise. Like I said, would solve homelessness. You look how many people would be able to afford. I know of a healthcare worker that saved this man's life with a CPR, because he is assisted living, keeps him. He's making $9.25 an hour, trying to go and pay student loans and stuff, and sleeping in his car, and works every day as a healthcare worker.